Ever feel like you're just drowning in a sea of calorie advice? Well, today we are going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to look at two really important numbers, BMR and TDEE, to figure out the one that actually fuels your goals, whether that's losing weight, building muscle, or just feeling a whole lot better. So let's dive right in. I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? The internet just kind of throws out numbers like 2,000 calories for everybody, but your body is completely unique. So how do you find your number, the one you actually need to hit your goals? That's exactly what we're going to break down right now. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with the absolute baseline, your BMR. Then, we'll build on that to find the number that matters in the real world, your TDE. We'll even calculate it together, show you how to use it, and then, and this is super important, talk about why it's just a starting point, not a strict rulebook. Okay, let's get into it. BMR. Before we can possibly figure out our total energy needs for the day, we've got to understand the foundation. This is the bare minimum your body needs just to, well, exist. So, what exactly is your basal metabolic rate, or BMR? Just think of it like this. It's the energy your body burns just to keep the lights on. To power your brain, keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing. If you literally spent 24 hours in bed not moving a muscle, this is how many calories you'd burn. It's your body's idle speed, and it's the very first piece of our puzzle. And that really highlights the whole problem with just stopping at your BMR. It's a number for a body at complete rest. I mean, we're talking about your energy needs if you were in a coma. But nobody lives like that, right? We walk, we work, we fidget, we live our lives, and that's exactly why we need a number that reflects our actual day. And that brings us to the number that truly matters, TDE. This isn't about some theoretical coma state. This is about your real-world, everyday energy burn. Your TDE, or total daily energy expenditure, now this is the whole shebang. It starts with that BMR baseline, sure, but then it adds in everything else. Walking the dog, typing at your desk, digesting your lunch, and of course your workouts. So if BMR is your car's idle speed, then your TDE is the total mileage you actually cover in a day. So how does all that daily burn actually break down? Well, as you can see, your BMR is that massive foundation. It's the biggest piece of the pie by far. But look at all those other pieces. They are absolutely crucial. The energy from your workouts, from digesting food, and all that non-exercise movement. It all adds up to a really significant chunk of your total burn. Let's just quickly run through these. BMR, that's your survival energy. EAT, that's your exercise activity, your planned workouts. TEF is the thermic effect of food. And yep, you heard that right, you burn calories just by digesting food. And then there's NEAT, which is kind of the secret weapon. That's all the non-exercise stuff. Fidgeting, taking the stairs, walking around the office. It all counts. Okay, theory is great, but how do we actually find this TDE number for ourselves? It might sound a little complicated, but I promise you it really just boils down to two simple steps. It's this simple. First, we're going to estimate your BMR using a standard formula. Don't worry, it's easy. Then, you just multiply that number by a factor that matches how active you are each day. That's it. Let's just walk through an example to make it crystal clear. So let's meet Alex. She's 30 years old, 165 centimeters tall, and weighs 65 kilograms. And she'd say she's moderately active. She hits the gym, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Okay, so using a really common formula, it's called the Mifflin-Jen-Jor equation, we can get a pretty good estimate for Alex's BMR. Her baseline, her idle speed, comes out to about 1,370 calories per day. Boom, step 1 is already done. Now for step 2, the activity multiplier. We just need to figure out where Alex fits in on this chart. Since she's working out about 3 to 5 times a week, she lands squarely in the moderately active category. And that gives us our magic number, 1.55. And now we just do the simple math. We take her BMR, that's 1,370, and we multiply it by her activity factor, 1.55. And there it is. Her TDEE is 2,124 calories a day. This is her estimated total daily burn. This is the number she can actually work with. So, we have the number. Fantastic. Now, what do we actually do with it? This is where the magic really happens, but it's also honestly where most people make a really critical mistake. And here it is, the single most important takeaway from all of this. Please burn this into your brain. All of your calorie targets, whether you're trying to lose fat, gain muscle, whatever, must be based on your TDEE. Your BMR is just a stepping stone to get here. It is not the final destination. Which brings us to the biggest pitfall of them all. People find their BMR, they see that it's a pretty low number, and they think, perfect, I'll just eat that much and I'll lose weight super fast. This is an absolute recipe for disaster. So why is this so bad? Well, think about it. If you're active at all, eating only at your BMR creates a massive energy deficit. It can slow down your metabolism, it'll tank your energy, and it will absolutely crush your performance in the gym. Just remember, BMR is your survival number, not your thriving number. And here are just a few other common traps to watch out for. First, please treat this number as a smart estimate, not as gospel. Second, be brutally honest with yourself about your activity level. It is so easy to overestimate. And finally, don't forget to recalculate it every few months, especially if your weight or your activity changes. Which brings us to our final and maybe the most important section of all. Because at the end of the day, these numbers, they're just a tool. They are not a rulebook. This is so important to remember. Any online calculator, any formula is just giving you an educated guess. Now, it's an incredible starting point, for sure. It's a place to anchor yourself. But ultimately, your body is the only real authority here. So how do you find your true number? It's actually pretty simple. Use your calculated TDEE as a target for a few weeks. Track what you eat, track your weight, and just pay attention to how you feel. Is the scale moving the way you expected? If not, don't panic. Just make a small adjustment, 100 calories up or down, and see what happens next. And that right there is really the ultimate takeaway. Think of a TDE calculator as something that gives you the starting coordinates for a journey, but it's your body's response, your actual real-world results, that draws the rest of the map to your goal. So listen to your results, adjust patiently, and you will find the right path. The only question left is, are you ready to start exploring?